The incredible thing about the worst job I've ever had is that I didn't really do it because I was gonna get paid more money or that I was being forced to do it. It's the fact that I was happy to do it on my own for no extra compensation because of one very powerful thing, which is the power of believing in an idea. You see, I believed that doing this work was extremely necessary for achieving my goal, and this experience became the inspiration that's going to help me demonstrate the tremendous power that you could have when you believe in something. So what was this job I'm talking about, and what was the belief that I had? Well, the job was basically going inside one of those cement mixing barrels that you see on the back of cement trucks and chipping away hardened concrete inside using a jackhammer. Now, this might sound easy to some people, but for me, my background was in the animation industry. I was a freelance animator in New York City when my family's concrete business was struggling and needed my help. So this type of work was hard for me. I will get into the belief that I had about getting into this family's business, but first let me explain why this task was horrible, for me at least. There were 4 reasons. First of all, it was tight. I felt like I was in a tomb. The particular mixer I was in was a small one, only 3.5 cubic yards, so it wasn't the standard 11 cubic yards that you see on 99% of cement trucks out there. The trucks we had were very small, so it was very uncomfortable and claustrophobic to be inside a barrel mixer like this, especially with 1.5 cubic yards of hardened concrete inside. There was not much room left. So I was in a very awkward and uncomfortable position while working inside. The second reason was heat. This took place in mid-July. Not only was the weather hot, but the concrete was still hardening inside the mixer and it was generating heat. The only way for me to be able to get inside the mixer was to do so very early in the morning, like 4 or 5 a.m. and work 2-3 hours every day, because by 7 a.m. it was already about 110 degrees inside the mixer. While this may not sound that extreme, when you consider humidity, lack of ventilation, and the safety gear I was wearing, it pretty much felt like an oven. The third reason was dust. Breaking concrete with a jackhammer creates a lot of dust. Usually when concrete is outside, the dust is not really that noticeable. But when it's contained in a small space like this, it gets very dusty. And here's the thing about concrete dust. Not only can't you breathe it, obviously, but you can't get it on your skin, especially if you're sweating, because it will burn you. You will get burned from the chemical reaction that happens when cement particles mix with water, and it hurts. Probably not as bad as fire burn, okay? But it hurts nevertheless. So I had to wear safety goggles, not safety glasses, safety goggles. And the problem with safety goggles is that they get foggy and they're so annoying. But anyways, I also had to wear an N95 mask, long sleeves, safety gloves, and even earmuffs because it gets very loud in that confined space. Jackhammers are pretty loud on their own, but inside the mixer, the echo makes them even louder. The fourth reason was danger. The mixer could actually spin while you're inside it if the weight of concrete becomes uneven. So I had to be aware of how I'm breaking the concrete so that the mixer didn't get unbalanced and therefore didn't spin while I was inside it. Trust me, you don't want it to spin while you're inside. It's not fun at all. So now that we know what the job was, how in the world was I happy to do it for no extra compensation? You see, this was my family's business, and at the time I believed that this business was going to be our gateway to financial freedom, even though it was still at an early stage. So hardened concrete inside a mixer was an obstacle standing in the way of achieving my goal, which was the financial freedom for me and my family. So I simply had to remove that obstacle. I was willing to remove any obstacle that stood in the way. That's how much I believed in the business. What's crazy about the power of belief is that it's not affected by whether or not the belief is true or false. What matters is whether or not you believe it. For example, my belief in the family business turned out to be false because I obviously don't work there anymore, and I'm currently not financially free, unfortunately. Not because the business failed, but because what happened afterwards was textbook drama and a long story that deserves to be made into a TV show or a novel, which is, by the way, what I'm creating now. I'm creating this illustrated novel called A Concrete Promise, and this sketch is going to be in the book. At the time, I didn't know that my belief was false, so it didn't stop me from doing this crazy task of going inside a cement mixer with a jackhammer. Look, I've experienced this power of belief a few times in my life, and every time it enabled me to do things that I've never thought I would be willing to do. Like another example is this YouTube channel and the videos that I'm making. It's a very similar situation to the one of me chipping concrete inside a mixer for no extra pay. Why am I spending hundreds of hours making videos that only a handful of people are watching, and sometimes no one at all is watching? Obviously, I'm not making any money. In fact, this is making me more broke. But you see, I have this belief, which is very similar to the one I had when I was inside that mixer. Basically that I'm going to make it one day. So I invite you to be a part of this journey with me and see what the outcome will be. I could be wrong, but I have a lot of faith because I've been in similar situations before and I made it. The only difference this time is that I'm not working for someone else. This time it's our project, my wife and I. If you find yourself hating your job, or if you're unwilling to do certain tasks, remember, the reason might be that you just don't believe that these things will help you achieve your goals. Maybe your current job will not help you afford buying a house or start a new family, so you don't feel the motivation to work in that particular job, but it's all you got at the moment. Don't feel that your current situation is going to be a permanent reality. Instead, think of it like an episode that will lead you to your next chapter. Try to find a path, a task, or anything that you truly believe in, and you'll be surprised by the extraordinary things you'll be able to do. So anyways, I hope you like my drawing of this character Tom inside the concrete mixer. This is a scene from my novel, A Concrete Promise, which is inspired by my life story. This chapter and this illustration is really an exploration of the idea of belief. It's about a character who, years before this moment, was faced with a difficult, life-altering choice. And the scene I'm drawing is a direct consequence of that single decision. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.